It was supposed to be a gala evening honoring the radiant twilight of Sir Elton John's illustrious career as one of humanity's most transcendent songwriting ambassadors. The 2024 Gershwin Prize for Popular Song ceremony, bestowed annually by the Library of Congress, represented the pantheon consecration for pop culture's most divinely enduring bards of spiritual truth and emotional enlightenment. And when the iconic Rocket Man himself ascended the stately marble dais of the library's Great Hall to receive the ceremonial Lifetime Achievement laurels, nary a single member of the assembled dignitaries could have fathomed the searing cosmic upheaval awaiting them. From the ceremony's opening grace note, it became apparent that Sir Elton was taking full advantage of his crowning cultural moment to settle some deeply unsettled royal scores with the British Crown's most controversial modern embodiment of scandal, his once beloved son, Prince Harry. Despite the evening being billed as a diffusively heartwarming retrospective, the celebrated singer's acceptance address sharply pivoted from the jump into an unsparing, blistering deconstruction of the Duke of Sussex's recent metamorphosis into a self-professed advocate of genealogical trauma healing. This next passage may disturb some of you good folks here tonight, but I could give a centenarian's toot about offense where the indelible dignity of my life's only pursuit is involved, thundered Sir Elton in unshakable baritone that briefly stunned the assemblage into contemplative hush. Because the sheer gall of one irredeemably privileged little publicity ingrate now lecturing the world about ancestral lineage mind purification is about as hypocritical as the Catholic Church hosting a slut pride parade. With a flick of the entertainer's deft fingers, the library's colossal video screens roared to life with a dizzying carousel of still frames capturing the Duke's most cringingly disastrous attempts to style himself as a modern folk shaman communing with indigenous spiritual technologies. Images of Harry draped in ersatz ceremonial outfits culled from Hollywood costume warehouses whiplashed between footage of him preening shirtless during Malibu's Zuamba retreats, and self-consciously swaying amidst psilocybin tea sommelier sessions in Santorini holistic wellness communes. If you bestow a single iota of validity upon those pretentious adolescent fantasies about healing the ancestral addiction mind codes or whatever that hippie dip pie con artist cattle shaman spewed at him in Cancun, then you're precisely the type of credulous muggins I've ridiculed to the rafters night after night for the past 60 years. Elton blared at the squirming audience members seemingly jolted by the optic sacrilegious overtones. He's not Faust reclaiming primordial folklore wisdom from the abyss. He's a goddamn Disney prince misappropriating sacred rituals as filler for his self-mythologizing Instagram. From there the knighted troubadour launched into a rhetorical pyrotechnic display that made mincemeat of Harry's recently unveiled ancestral temperament morphogenics/trauma decolonization autobiography trilogy. The Duke's soaring best-selling word clouds brimming with narco-shamanic indulgences and metaphysical deliverance from so-called dynasty oppressor seeds, all became fair game for the most irreverent satirical shivs. With his legendary wit cranked into mordantly acerbic top gear, even the wizened literary icons speckling the crowd seemed at risk of spontaneously combusting from second-hand embarrassment burns. Read any random 5 pages of this turgid codswallop and you'll question how any creature belonging to the former prince species of rarefied oxygen thieves could expend so much soporific wank chronicling his asinine vision quests and fistfuls of Amazonian onirogenic herbs. The singer cackled derisively at one particularly vicious crescendo. That is, unless their only ambition involves flushing their inherited silver spoon fortunes down the metaphysical toilet in a doomed quest to spiritually reconnect with whatever mass-produced boho batik trousers mum snagged on the Costa Rican cruise ship's discount tank top rack back in '93. When the glitziest names of the entertainment stratosphere began exchanging murmurs of uneasy discomfort over the possibility Sir Elton had taken things too far into cruel personal territory, the consummate showman proved only too happy to indulge them one final time. Only instead of dialing down his pugilistic stylings, the pop aristocrat elected instead to burn the entire ersatz ancestral fever dream to its metaphysical foundations in an awe-inspiringly vicious rhetorical salvo. As if tapping into profound cathartic reservoirs of seething disdain 50 years germinating, the singer leveled every withering insult and jaded eldritch damnation towards his fallen spiritual seedling. The only deep pathogenic wounds and self-inflicted curses requiring transmutational forgiveness therapy here is every single foolish minute of my life wasted trying to cultivate even an iota of moral guidance into this empty vacuum of repressed Freudian night terrors dressed up in profundities about Decolonizing the codependent ego from false archonic processors or whatever fresh horse shite regurgitated through his ceremonial bong water filters, Elton thundered with eyes ignited into a blinding twin supernovae of contemptuous reproach. It's all a desperate sham, and a sickening one at that, the act of a pampered latchkey cipher so chronically allergic to authenticity and accountability that he genuinely believes his privileged journey of compulsive avoidance and escapism somehow alchemized into a heroic crusade of transgenerational rebirthing. But for anyone with even a whisper of psychic self-possession left, his entire meteorized identity remains that of an ersatz chimera cobbled from tattered archetypes. A ghastly appropriation of every tiresome, ancestral healing complex soaked up like a bored Trustafarian sponge chasing the next dopamine hit of faux enlightenment through the global shaman circuit. With these final bolts of rhetorical lightning flung towards the cosmos in cathartic defiance of all identitarian delusions of shamanic grandeur, Sir Elton momentarily stood in imperious silence. As if steeling himself for one final confrontation with the very shadow of cultural amnesia and ritualized abasement his career was built transcending. Then came the ultimate fatality blow, rendering judgment upon all posturing frauds feigning nobility. And mark my words, because they ring as eternal verity, the only true sacrilege is allowing such travesties to diminish what art and pop culture exist to perpetually reaffirm: the potential for spiritual enlightenment within every earthly vessel tuned to hear life's calling. So believe me on this score, you pompous petulant little cosset twat, you've degraded nothing except your own sad future as a self-satirizing laughingstock destined to spend eternity strumming your alioranthropede therapy didgeridoo in obscurity beyond salvation. By the time Elton exited the stage to a tsunami of paralyzed silence flooding the library's hallowed chambers, there remained little doubt which eternal truth had been ceremonially exalted. More than a defiant champion of populist songcraft, the Rocket Man proved himself the implacable slayer of sacred idiocies everywhere, harnessing his farewell sermon to eviscerate the ultimate false idol rooted in spiritual bypassing and identitarian sanctimony rebranded as panacea. As for Harry himself, the Duke remained conspicuous only through the mournful invisibility of his total absence on a night originally intended as celebration of his highest creative muse's enduring humanitarian virtues. Yet even in the empty lacuna of that untranscended void, history's inescapable judgment still shone through.